Right, so I'll put the new segments in the generator project, which is this thing I've been working on for the past, well, I don't know, 6 months, I don't know, 7 months, I don't know, I lost track, maybe 5 months. um, because I'm still waiting for parts for the magnet motor, so that's kind of stuck until I get some more magnets for that. But yeah, it's actually running at the moment. I don't even know if you can tell, but it's flipping quiet. But we're only running at about 1111 RPM. So there's a bit of a problem. The segments that I made for it, so much for the anti-drag. Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of drag on it, which is a problem. So the original segments I did for the, this is the RPM we're at the moment, and there's the oscilloscope reading. So we're not getting what I was hoping. So yeah. So the original segments, I'll just give you a quick update. The original segments which I did when I first started this thing were using with steel shims, and they were angled like that, and the 25mm long steel shims by 8mm by 2mm thick. These were the original ones that I did when I first started this anti-drag generator. Now, interestingly enough, these performed in such a way, these particular ones performed in such a way that when I loaded it down, it didn't slow down. But then the steel itself was causing a significant amount of drag. Now, what's interesting is that using a nanocrystalline material, which is what's installed in all the segments at the moment, and that's the view of the back there with it. So what's interesting with all the nanocrystalline material that I'm using is the way it's arranged at the moment is I'm actually getting more drag than I expected. And now there's one possibility. I might have a binding issue because I went and superglued these, well, I superglued the pulley on the front and the pulley on the back, and I squeezed it together so that I could clamp the two rotors, the magnet disc stators on each side, so I could clamp them together. And I think I might have clamped them too hard, because when you clamp them too hard and you're pressing up against the bearings, you create friction, side friction, that is against the sides of the bearings. So I might have caused an issue there. I am not sure. I'll have to loosen one of the pulleys to find that out, but yeah, it's running at the moment. So I just wanted to let it run and see if it eases off or whatever for now. But I'm a little bit disappointed at the moment, but it might be just a glitch of some kind. I had a bit of rubbing earlier. One of the segments was catching on this canopy, and I had a bit of a problem with it. Yeah, so I've got to get my file out at some point and file the segments, because they're sticking out slightly on one side and catching on this canopy. But it's alright at the moment. I positioned it slightly. It's not got a coil on it anyway, but the reason for having them all on is to reduce air drag, because when it's a sealed unit and they're spinning, the air is actually circulating around with the rotor, and it's not replenishing with static air, which is also a drag issue. So, like, as you know, with an electric fan blades, they draw in static air and then they propel it. Well, that actually slows the fan down, obviously. So by enclosing the rotor in the canopies, there's less air being drawn in and less air being pushed out, so there's less drag in that respect. But yeah, so I've got a bit of I'm actually using brass spacers now, which is somewhat better than using the plastic. These plastic spacers I was using previously, they're a bit warpy anyway. They're a bit thick, and I didn't like using plastic ones because they can catch on the walls of the bearing insert, where there's a gap between the shaft and the stator hole. Sometimes the plastic ones would catch on there. but the brass ones are a lot thinner and stronger, and they give me a much better spacing, because bits don't break off them. So yeah, but you'll notice it's very quiet. Right, so it runs the switch or not. But when we get down to a speed of about 400 RPM, when it's dropping, I get a lot of magnetic resonance effects, which is to be expected, because at certain frequencies the segments, the nanocrystalline material that's in the slots starts to resonate at certain frequencies, and it makes a bit of noise, and it kind of like a hum. It's like a 50 hertz or 40 hertz hum, and but once it gets up to this above 1000 RPM, it's as quiet as a nut. It's very quiet, which is a good thing. But to be honest with you, I am not going to spend a lot more time on this right now, because, as I say, I really want to get back to the magnet motor, which you'll probably be glad about. But I just can't do anything until I get the magnets. I'm hopeful that they should arrive mid-August. No, actually, yeah, it's August now, isn't it? Yeah, I keep losing track. So maybe mid-August or before the end of August, I'm hoping, because the postal services are a little bit erratic at the moment, what with this pandemic or pingdemic, whichever one you call it, situation. So yeah, however, in the meantime, what I've been thinking about doing really is working on a third project, and I'm not going to disclose that right now because I'm still working it out, but I've got some ideas for another project. So this project is interesting and useful, but it's bulky, uses a lot of plastic, and what I was thinking about was making something a bit smaller to experiment with, something that's not going to use up so much material, because I want to test some ideas out with a smaller project, based on the magnet motor, actually, because of the arrangement of the segments. Let me just now, using the magnets in the segment motor, on the magnet motor, what I was thinking about was the arrangement of the magnets is such a way that these propel themselves along. Well, what I was thinking about was a way of using an arrangement similar to this, but with steel shims or something in between the magnets, and using the actual shims themselves that stick out as the points of coupling to a coil. Instead of having the magnets orientated in the other direction, which caused a lot of drag, I had some ideas about using a different arrangement of magnets for a generator. And the reason for doing that, the reason thinking about that is because maybe I can combine a magnet motor idea and a generator all in one. So that's what I'm thinking about as a third project, is combining a magnet motor and generator all in one. Now, the idea was that if I can arrange it in such a way that when it's drawing power, it actually increases its speed by generating the power from the drag part of the magnets arrangement. Maybe there's something I can do with that, and I haven't worked it all out yet. It's just an idea. So obviously that was the large one, that segment that I was doing with the magnet motor, and that's the small one. That's the smaller one, which is very thin. And I want to work something very small so that I can try some ideas out. I'm going to have to model something, but it uses a lot of brain work. I love that. I love that movie, Space Hunter. I don't know if you've seen it, Space Hunter. What's his name in it? I've forgotten his name now. Molly Ringwald was in it as well. I like the way she used to say brain work. I used to like that. Total lack of English. Whatever. Yeah, it's a good movie, is that. So, but yeah, it's a lot of headaches and that, and I'm kind of going through a bit of a dip in at the moment with family issues because so we're having some issues with family at the moment as well. Daughters giving me a hard time, but yeah, daughters or sons, if you have sons, we all go through it in life. It's part of life, unfortunately, but it's all this business with conflicting information. They seem to get educated with one thing, and we older people get educated and look a bit more aware of other things. I suppose it's our history catching up with us, or lack of history with the young kids. They don't seem to study history these days, which is a shame. But anyway, I don't want to waffle on about that too much. Anyway, as you can see, it runs very quiet, which is great, which is good news. That means it's in balance. It's not going to vibrate and shake itself to pieces. So I'm actually getting 880 millivolt. That's pretty close to a volt on the cyclic RMS at the moment. We're peak to peak 2.8 volts on that one coil. So yeah. So anyway, I'll go for now. I don't know what else I'm going to be updating you with until I think of something for this model that I might get in my mind, this new design I want to work on. But the magnet motor is definitely something I want to continue with, and that keeps evolving and changing and all this. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.